Hello again everyone, Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having Capricorn on the 5th house cusp in a natal chart. Now, in astrology, the 5th house governs romance, love, creative endeavors, hobbies, children, amusement, and speculation. Now, the sign on the cusp of the 5th house can give characteristics and attributes to that house. Also, planets that inhabit the 5th house can flavor it. Another important thing to look at is to see where the ruler of the 5th house is located and what house it's posited in, as this can show the energy where 5th house matters are injected into. Also, it's significant to look at transits and progressions, as this could indicate greater activity in matters pertaining to the 5th house than otherwise indicated in your natal chart. Well, anyway, people, first thing I'll look at, if somebody has a Capricorn on the cusp of the 5th house in their natal chart, this could indicate somebody that shows a lot of responsibility in romantic matters, in love, can be very prudent, judicious, cautious in these matters. This person may have maybe a difficult time, maybe really cutting loose, so to speak, as far as maybe showing that whimsical side or showing enjoyment from time to time, because I give you an example. I have a friend who likely had Capricorn on the 5th house cusp that I work with, because he had Virgo rising. I think in probability he had Capricorn on the 5th, and there was one experience that kind of epitomized this nature. And he was a manager over me there, and there was another manager. The other manager had said, "Are you going to leave Eddie all by himself," meaning me, because he was getting ready to punch out and go to lunch. And the person who I believe had Capricorn on the 5th responded. He said, "Well, I was hungry. I wanted to punch out for that reason," or whatever. Well, the other manager was actually being facetious and sarcastic when he said, "You're going to leave Eddie all by himself," but the one who I believe had Capricorn on the 5th took it seriously, and I thought that kind of showed the kind of that experience of having Capricorn on the 5th for a lot of people. Now, anyway, another thing to look at is that the 5th house governs children, and it doesn't necessarily mean that there'll be any great delay in having children. There might be some, or there might just be something where this person has a very cautious and prudent outlook, and as far as this goes, and wants to make sure that it's the right time for them, for him or her, to be able to want to have children in his or her life. And there might be some, it could be some delay or restriction or limitation maybe connected with this. Perhaps this person, in some isolated cases, may not have children, or may just have like one. The children themselves may be some very business-like, organized, orthodox, conventional, traditional, might actually be very astute in business matters. When I look at this too, we know that the 5th house also governs hobbies and things of enjoyment. Now, this could indicate somebody that, as far as their hobbies go, perhaps they may like some kind of games that are connected with business, such as like Monopoly, or I think the other one's hotels. There was also some kind of game I saw that was a software game which had 2 games in it, and one was called Stock Market, and I forget what the other one was. But this really can be something where this person may enjoy games which test their business acumen and show how astute they are in matters pertaining to business. And this could also give a very serious nature toward their hobbies, and it could be possible in some cases where these persons' hobbies might become something that they actually are connected with one's business. If somebody likes to, say, do carpentry, or make, for example, maybe make bookends or something as a hobby, or do something connected with wood, maybe this person eventually starts some kind of business or does this as part of their, as far as their work life goes, becomes a carpenter, or does something where they work on things that are associated with wood, perhaps things connected with home renovation, for example. And the fifth house governs one's creative endeavors, so this person may show strong creativity and connection, perhaps with their ambitions, perhaps with what their aspirations are as far as their career matters go, as far as maybe getting, perhaps in their work life in general, in their livelihood. This is something that I look at if Capricorn is on the cusp of the fifth house. This could be a person that way. If we look at it as far as the speculation goes, perhaps this person may invest in maybe, for example, in stocks that are connected with businesses, or be very conservative and orthodox in these matters, and perhaps make investments in really mainly, primarily, businesses that are established, that are reputable, that might have a slow but steady kind of gain. Investments, things that are purchased, maybe things that are toward their own business, if applicable. If this person has his or her own business, if it applies, then you might see this person make certain things that are for their business. And if anything else, if this person buys something and with hopes maybe of getting perhaps a greater, I guess you could say, making a profit on something eventually, it may often be something that has a very slow but steady as far as the escalation in its worth, and something that may not always pay great dividends instantaneously or immediately, but something that has a slow but steady progress as far as that goes. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for having Capricorn on the cusp of the fifth house in the natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about having Aquarius on the fifth house cusp in the natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of the person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.